Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmates. We are the Group 6 and we will going to tackle about the Chapter 7 Work Teams and Groups. So before we proceed to our discussion, let me introduce to you myself first. My name is Divine Mesha M. Mendoza and my co-presenters are Alaika May Esma, Marifer Banyago, Mary Ann Lumagod, and Kenneth Navarro. So our learning objectives for this chapter, you will be able to distinguish a work teams from a group inside an organization. Our topic outline is number 1, group, classification of groups, stage of group development, roles with groups, advantages and disadvantages, techniques in group decision making. Number 2, work team, types of teams, developing effective team, turning individual into team player, and lastly, number 3, work group versus work teams. So let's proceed to our discussion. What is group? A group may be defined as two or more persons interacting and interdependent who have come together to achieve certain objectives. So group is any number of people who have a common purpose objective, which is to interact with one another, to accomplish their objectives, and lastly, to be aware with each other. In short, group is a set of two or more individuals interacting with one another to accomplish their objectives and to be aware of each other. So, bakit na-form ang group? Na-form ang isang group kasi lahat ng individual sa isang group ay may iisang common goal na gustong i-achieve or kailangan i-achieve. So, dumako naman tayo sa classification of group. Number 1 is the formal group. This one defined by the organization structure with designated work assignment and established tasks. So, formal group is created by the management to perform the assigned duties. Dito sa formal group, lahat ng task is naka-designate na. And dapat yung task na naka-designate sa kanila is dapat maipasa on time. Kasi sa formal group, lahat ng trabaho nila is may deadline. Examples of formal groups are committees, group meetings, work teams, and task force. So what are the types of formal group? The types of formal group is command group and task group. Number 1, what is command group? A command group is a group composed of individuals who report directly to a certain manager. So, command group is based on reporting relationship in organization to the superior. Dito sa command group, every employee has a position na kung saan laging may mas nakakataas sa employee na dapat mag-oversee if nagagawa ng maayos ang trabaho ng mga employee. Example of a command group is academic department chairman and faculty members. So, dumako naman tayo sa task group. Task group, it is that kind of group consisting of persons working together to complete a job task. So, itong task group naman, na-form lang siya kasi may specific task na kailangan ma-achieve. Itong group task, pwede siyang ma-dissolve din lang pag natapos na ng member sa group yung task na naka-attach sa kanila. Example ng task group is, if ever may group project. So, next naman tayo sa classification of group. Number 2 dito is yung informal group. So, informal group. This group type neither formally structured nor organizationally determined. It is formed by individuals and developed around common interests and friendship rather than around deliberated design. Kung sa formal group ay na-form siya dahil create ito ng management at may kanya-kanya ng designated task, sa informal group naman ay na-form siya through common interest and friendship. Kahit sino pwede sa group na to, basta parehas ng common interest. In short, ang informal group is not well organized with its creation, and kaya siya na-form dahil voluntary ito, hindi katulad ng formal na na-form siya dahil sa management. So, what are the types of formal group? The types of formal group is command group and task group. Number 1, what is command group? A command group is a group composed of individuals who report directly to a certain manager. So, command group is based on reporting relationship in organization to the superior. Dito sa command group, every employee has a position na kung saan laging may mas nakakataas sa employee na dapat mag-oversee if nagagawa ng maayos ang trabaho ng mga employee. Example of a command group is academic department chairman and faculty members. So, dumako naman tayo sa task group. Task group, it is that kind of group consisting of persons working together to complete a job task. So, itong task group naman, nafo-form lang siya kasi may specific task na kailangan ma-achieve. Itong group task, pwede siyang ma-dissolve din lang pag natapos na ng member sa group yung task na nakaatas sa kanila. Example ng task group is, if ever my group project. So, next naman tayo sa classification of group. Number 2 dito is yung informal group. So, informal group. This group type neither formally structured nor organizationally determined. It is formed by individuals and developed around common interests and friendship rather than around deliberated design. Kung sa formal group ay nafo-form siya dahil create ito ng management at may kanya-kanya ng designated task, sa informal group naman ay nafo-form siya through common interest and friendship. Kahit sino pwede sa group na to, basta parehas ng common interest. In short, ang informal group is not well organized with its creation, and kaya siya nafo-form dahil voluntary ito, hindi katulad ng formal na nafo-form siya dahil sa management. So why people form groups? The reasons are, number 1, they need satisfaction. Individual needs satisfaction, which can be personal or social. Ang ibig sabihin nito is may gusto kang patunayan sa sarili mo or sa taong mga nakapaligid sa iyo. Number 2, proximity. So groups are formed in terms of proximity kasi there are 2 main reasons why people form groups with others nearby. Ibig sabihin, sa mas malapit kesa sa malayo. First, kasi human beings like things that are familiar to them. So pag familiar, they can work with confidence. Second, is when more people come into contact with one another, the more likely the interaction, the more they will cultivate a relationship. Na kung saan, pag na-build yung magandang relationship, you can work in harmony. Number 3, attraction. In terms of attraction naman, syempre, kaya groups are formed dahil you have the law of attraction on fulfilling your goals. Gustong-gusto mong ma-achieve yung goals na gusto mong ma-achieve. Kasi people are attracted to do his her job kasi motivated siyang gawin ang isang bagay, lalo na kung may nagmamotivate sa kanyang magsikap. Number 4, goals. So when the same people form a group, they act more competitively to try and reach the common goals, even if it means working against other groups. So alam naman natin yan na kaya nagsisipag ang isang tao kasi he or she has a goal in his or her life. Pwede dito yung goal mo is to protect and benefit yourself in the future, and pwede din dito is yung lumalaban ka sa araw-araw to suffice the needs of your family. And yourself, of course. Lastly, economic. The most important reason for forming or joining a group is the individual needs satisfaction. This means that the member expect affiliation with the group to satisfy. This need is also economic in nature because group economic incentives are generally more generous individual performance incentives. So, sa pagkakaintindi ko sa economic, people form a group kasi gusto nila magsilbi sa nasasakupan nila or sa government. So, dumako naman tayo sa stages of groups development. Number 1 is the forming stage. So, hindi ko na papahabain at hindi ko na babasahin. So, dito daw sa forming stage, bago mabuo ang isang group, they are going to get to know each other first. Wherein na kung saan dapat yung individual is eager to learn about the task that they will be performing. Also, forming stage, dito mo malalaman yung do's and don'ts sa group and yung mga rules and regulation. So, once na na-brief na sila sa do's and don'ts, dito na mapapaisip yung isang individual kung pwede siya sa group. Once na he or she begins to think of himself or herself as a part of the group, then the forming stage is complete. Second is the storming stage. So, dito naman sa storming stage, lahat ng members sa groups ay di pa masyadong lubos na magkakakilala. Kasi sa forming stage, first phase pa lang yun. So, dito sa storming stage, ito yung stage na conflict within the group happens. Kasi everyone has idea and lahat ng ideas ng members sa group is nagahalo-halo. So, dapat, in order for you to know each other, dapat maintindihan nyo yung ideas ng bawat isa. At dapat, never forget to respect each other ideas para maiwasan na din ang conflict.
Let us now move on to the third stage of group, the norming stage. Differences are resolved and team members openly communicate. Sa stage na ito, members begin to understand na kinakailangan nilang mag-operate as a team rather than as a group of individuals. Sa stage din na ito, nare-resolve yung mga conflicts because first, there is an open exchange of views and opinions about the team's problem. Second, the team starts to set up procedures to deal with the task. Third, people ignoring individual differences and team members are more accepting of one another. Next, the performing stage. Feeling of satisfaction with team and ability to take on more tasks. Sa stage na ito, a higher level of communication, understanding, and trust has been achieved by the team members. Yung mga members is nag-work na sila together para ma-achieve yung mga common goals nila. Decision-making, collaboration, motivation, and effective development is happening in this stage. Sa stage din na ito, the group is in high gear and highly productive and effective in meeting its objective. There are two different substage under the performing stage. First, the substage where the group has attained a level of effectiveness. Second, the substage where the process learning and development of the group is ongoing. Next is the last stage of group, the adjourning stage. The final stage wherein the group terminates because yung goal or task nila ay na-achieve na nila or the group terminates kasi may mga members na nag-left due to failure or loss of interest. And sometimes, individual members may be reassigned to other teams or groups and the team disbands. Let us now move on to the topic rules within the group. There are 8 rules. First, knowledge contributor. Provides the group with useful and valid information. When we say knowledge contributor, this person provides the group with useful and valid information. Second, the process observer. A person occupying this role forces the group to look at how it is functioning. Yung process observer, siya yung first person that will be affected when the group fails, but also first to acknowledge excellence group performance. From the word observer, the person in this role should be observant to his members and to their overall performance. Next is the people supporter. A person occupying this role assumes some leadership responsibility for providing emotional support to teammates and resolving conflict. Within the group, hindi mawawala yung member na not emotionally strong to face various difficulties. Kaya dito pumapasok yung role na ito. From the word supporter, taga-support, meaning yung role na ito is a person who providing emotional support to teammates, resolving conflicts, always encourage group mates. Ito yung tinatawag natin minsan na moral support. Next rule is the challenger. A challenger will criticize any decision or preliminary thinking that is deficient in any way, including being ethically unsound. The person in this role makes others see the negative side of things. Challenge niya like asking the question, what if this kind of thing happen? What will we do? Through this way, nape-prevent ng challenger yung complacency and at the same time, napopromote niya yung critical thinking among the members. Next is the listener. Listening contributes so substantially to team success that it compromises a separate role even though other roles involve listening. The person in this role listens whatever ideas or proposal presented by any member of the group. Next is the mediator. Because disputes among members may become so prolonged and intense, a team leader or member may have to mediate. Sa isang grupo, hindi talaga mawawala yung conflicts or disagreements. So in this role, if I'm not mistaken, siya yung tagapamagitan. A peacemaker and nami-minimize niya yung harm that can cause from disagreements. Next is the gatekeeper. When the opportunity gate for contributing is closed to several members, the gatekeeper pries it open. He or she requests that a specific team member be allowed to contribute or that the member's past contribution be recognized. Sa role na ito, the person provides opportunity for every member to express his or her opinion. Siya yung nag-o-open ng gate of opportunity to those members na hindi nakaka-express ng kanyang opinion because yung gate of opportunity to contribute is closed sa kanila. Next is the take charge leader. Ito yung last role. When leadership is lacking, a team member can assume the role of the take charge leader. Ito yung rule kung saan this person will take in charge sa group or sa work or siya yung tatayong leader habang wala yung pinaka-leader. Some example of this is yung vice president, sub-treasurer, or sub-secretary.
Work, teams, and groups advantage. So una, kapag mas marami ang mga information ang pumapasok sa isang groups, is nakakatulong ito para sa effective decision making. Pangalawa, ito yung total effect ng groups kaysa sa individual. Kasi, as a group, mas maraming idea ang naibibigay kaysa isang tao lang ang nag-iisip. Third, in a group, kailangan nilang tignan kung ano ba dapat ang final na decision kailangan nilang magtulungan at isiping mabuti ang decision na dapat nilang gawin. Fourth and five, kaya nga may tinatawag na brainstorming and planning para may sharing of idea at planning para magplanong mabuti ng dapat na gawin. Next is disadvantage. Una, dapat iisa lang ang goal na gusto nyong ma-achieve. Kaya dapat piliin yung ideas na mas karapat-dapat na mai-contribute para makatulong in every group activity. Pangalawa, mas maganda ang harap-harap na usapan para makita mo if seryoso ba yung kausap mo at makita yung facial expression niya para mas malinaw ang usapan. Third, kung lahat ng kasama mo sa group is sabi ng mga ideas na hindi naman kailangan or not connected sa topic, makakagulo ka lang sa plano. Fourth, walang masyadong nag-aako ng pagkakamali. Parang walang accountable sa kanilang lahat kasi pantay-pantay lang naman sila ng work. Fifth, kung may occasion kang pupuntahan, let your member know. Kasi hindi pwedeng iwan mo sa kanila yung work mo. Pwede ka naman nilang bigyan ng work na iba para makapunta sa occasion. Isa lang talaga ito sa problema. Gaya na lang sa mga nangyayari sa school activities. Lahat naman kayo nai-encounter ito o nararanasan, lalo na sa mga leaders. Mahirap if ibibigay mo yung responsibility mo sa iba habang ikaw nagpapakasaya. So, dito na tayo sa group think. From the word group think, dapat lahat ng kagrupo nyo or natin ay nag-iisip o may idea kasi hindi lang iisa ang may responsibilidad kundi lahat ng nasa grupo. Next is techniques and groups. First is interacting group. From the word interact, kailangan mag-usap-usap ang bawat member ng grupo face to face. Second is brainstorming. Ang brainstorming ay sharing of idea. Kasi kung mas maraming idea, mas maraming pagpipilian. Third is nominal group technique. Para din lang itong brainstorming pero dapat as individual, mas nakakam up mo yung ideas mo rather than as a group. Lastly is electronic meeting. So dito, lahat ng member ay nag-i-interact through computer at dito sila nagdidesisyon gamit ang comment section at butuhan ng bawat isa.
Next is yung work team. Ano nga bang work team? A work team is a formal group comprised of people interacting very closely together with a shared commitment to accomplish agreed upon objectives. A team is generally more specific, like for example sa airplane. Di naman natin masasabi na as a team yung mga nakasakay dun sa aeroplano unless yung airplane is nag-crash, example sa desert island, and they need to work together to survive. And ang main agenda kasi ng team is one for all for one. And yung pinakamalagang feature nito is yung synergy, meaning merong pagtutulungan na kung saan mas nakakapag-create ng better effects and result. Sinabi din dyan na yung people interacting very closely together, which means mas strong yung combined effort and action nila para ma-achieve yung objectives. And there are 4 types of teams. First is yung problem-solving teams. It is usually known or tinatawag ding temporary team which focus on solving specific issue, like for example sa business. If there is financial crisis, this kind of team may be created wherein yung mga member ng team na to is magbibigay ng opinion or insight on how to improve yung processes para ma-solve yung problem. Second is yung self-managed team. A self-managed work team is one that is empowered to make decisions about work schedules, task allocation, job skill training, performance evaluation, selection of new team members, and controlling quality of works. Meaning, there is no manager nor authority figures. Example of this is yung mga supervisors, which are responsible dun sa work scheduling, performance evaluation, and quality control. Advantages nito is it improve flexibility of staff, the reduced number of job classification result to more efficient operation, mababa yung absenteeism and turnover rates, organizational commitment, and job satisfaction are at higher levels. Disadvantages, implementing the concept takes time. The cost of training the team member is high. There are inefficiencies created during the training and some employees are not able to adapt to a team structure. Third type is yung cross-functional team. These teams are made up of members from various departments that tackle specific tasks and require different inputs and expertise. Example dito is yung service improvement. Pag nag-improve ka ng service, involved dito yung marketing department, which is responsible dun sa gathering customer data, and operations staff, which is expert sa design and processes for delivering service. Kasama rin dyan yung our human resource department, which oversees training, employees that needs new skills, and accountants that identify any cost and savings. Ang advantage nito is it allows people from different units to exchange information, develop new ideas, solve problem solving, and coordinate complex projects. And yung main disadvantage of this team is that it consumes much time as the member learn to work with diversity and complexity. Since building trust also takes time, especially kung yung mga people na involved is from different backgrounds. And lastly, yung virtual teams. Those people who work in different physical location and rely heavily on collaboration tools like computers to get things done together. Ginagawa din naman ng team na to yung usually na ginagawa ng face-to-face team, and ang pinagkaiba lang is they do it with the aid of computer. Example dito is yung if si company a plane manufacturer, is facing a heavy pressure from competitors. And para ma-address yung issue na yun, si company A connects expert from different country to collaborate together and create a new innovative plane design. Virtual team can meet without concern for space, time, or physical presence. And a major disadvantage of this team is the high cost of the required supporting technology and training. Developing effective teams. Team size must be kept as small as possible. The larger the team, the more difficult it would be to manage it. Team size must be kept as small as possible because it also prevents social loafing, where individual contributions are perceived to be less valuable because of the number of people sharing the same task. Number two is the team members must have a sufficient range of skills, information, and or experience to do the task. Since each member is expected to perform different job, kailangan meron silang enough skills para magawa yung task. Number three, the member must understand his role and know how their work contributes towards the success of the organization. Number four, the team must be free to develop its work procedure. Number five, the team must have a sense of accountability. Kailangan may willingness silang i-take yung responsibility for the outcomes of their actions.
Turning individual into team player. If a leader wants to form a team, how are we going to turn individual into a team players? So, 'di ba sa inside na organization, may mga task na kailangang tapusin. Para matapos yung task na yan, bumubuo yung isang leader or yung head ng organization, ng team, para mas mabilis na matapos yan. Kaya yung mga organization leaders, ginagamit nila yung i-discuss ko, which is yung mga flows or mga consideration na ginagawa nila. First is yung selection. Selection, it must be remembered that not all people are alike. Hindi lahat ng tao ay magkakaparehas. So, kailangan mong piliin kung sino ba talaga magkakaparehas or sino yung mga may kakayahan na tapusin yung task na gagawin mo. After nun, after mong ma-select, you are going to train them. Hindi naman kasi lahat ng mga napili mo, kaya talaga nilang tapusin yung task na binigay mo sa kanila. So, kailangan mo silang i-train para mas mabilis nilang matapos kung ano yung task na dapat gawin. After nun, kung matatapos man nila yung task na ginawa nila, kailangan mo naman silang bigyan ng reward. What is the purpose of reward? Through rewards, you are going to motivate them. Kapag na-motivate mo sila, kapag na-motivate mo sila, mas maraming task na silang magagawa. So, after ng selection, you are going to select. Then, you are going to train the people you've been select. Then, reward, you are going to give reward to the team that you formed for the motivation. Yun yung mga turning individual into team players. Then next, potential team problems. Sa isang team, may mga problemang na i-encountered. Kung bakit nabubuo or nabubuwag or bakit nadi-deform yung isang team. Yung isang reason dito is yung changing membership. Kapag ang isang individual gusto na niyang mag-improve or gusto na niyang magkaroon ng ibang priority, diyan na pumapasok yung changing membership. So, kapag mas malaki yung mga tao mo na gusto ng ganon, changing, so mas hihirapan kang tapusin yung task na kailangan mong tapusin dun sa organization na yon. So, kailangan mo talagang i-motivate or bigyan sila ng rewards for them to not to change in the membership. Then next is social loafing. Social loafing means expend less effort when working collective than when working individually. So, mas nag-expend na lang sila ng less effort. Yung mga rason dito is parang hindi nila binibigyan ng hindi na-notice kasi yung effort na binibigay nila kung bibigay nila ng buo. So, as a leader or as a organizational head, I'm going to less or magiging noticeable na sila. Kailangan natin siyang notice or kailangan natin silang bigyan ng importance. Parang bibigyan natin sila ng parang ino-notice nga natin sila. Natatapos na nila yung bibigyan natin sila ng feedback kung ano yung mga natapos nilang task. Then, yun yung mga problem na meron tayo. First is the changing membership. Next is the social loafing. Next na tayo, groups versus work teams. Groups versus work teams, talagang magkaiba ang isang groups and work teams. As for the discussion of my team lately, magkaiba ang group sa work teams in terms of goals, leadership, accountability, and work product. Kasi kapag goals, work groups, shared information siya. Pero kapag work team sa may goals, collective performance. Collective, meaning iisa yung kailangan nilang i-perform. Kapag shared information, nagsishare lang sila ng information about isa specific task. Sa leadership, individual leadership, parang walang leader may isang leader na kailangang mamuno. Pero kapag shared leadership, lahat sila leader sa work teams. Pero sa accountability, individual accountability. As for, di ba kasi kapag work groups, kung ikaw ay nakapabilang lang sa groups, meaning you are going to accountable sa lahat ng mga kailangan mong kung ano yung mga matatapos mo. Pero kapag work teams, as for you are going to work as a team or as a whole, so magiging mutually accountable na kayo. So kapag work product, individual ang magiging work product kasi mag-isa mo. Parang yun na nga. Then kapag collective work product, iisa yung product na perform nyo. Yun yung sa may groups versus work teams. Then, groups and teams impact effectively. What groups and teams can do? Enhance the performance. Kapag ang groups and teams nakakapag-enhance ng performance, kapag nakabuo sila ng groups or teams, isang organization, mas maganda yung performance kasi mas nagkakabanding sila. Ganun din, nagiging smoothing or working environment. Nagiging flexible din yung leadership na meron sila. Then after nun, customer satisfaction. Nagiging after ma-improve ang meron ka sa isang group, nagkakagain siya ng competitive edge over others. Kasi kung may maganda kang group or team sa isang organization, magiging maganda rin yung task na natatapos nyo. Then, last na, which is yung summary, which is to be read na lang. And, thank you.